Okay. All right.
Recording in progress. What the hell?
I thought it was going to be a product placement thing, but he's trying to make a sound that none of us could hear. It's
Are you
great.
trying to play an instrument there, Leonard?
Yes. Yes. That was
Okay.
really horrible karaoke.
Maybe since you don't have an instrument, maybe you could can somebody beatbox us a song? Maybe. Yeah.
I'm definitely not going to do that.
Okay, so someone has got to call 911.
Okay. Cool. Hey, everybody. Welcome to IoT Coffee Talk.
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah. Somebody rescue us. Oh my God.
You know, sometimes you just have to be resourceful, you know? You do what you can with what you have, and all I have is a friggin' Pellegrino bottle. That's it, right?
Yeah, that's what Debbie was thinking. It's like, yeah, Leonard's being resourceful. He's being a freak. Yeah. Well, whatever. We got to do what we got to do.
Well, you know, yeah.
So, this would be an MWC 2025 episode, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You're there.
Yes.
You haven't come home yet.
Still here.
I never stay that long, dude.
I actually didn't intend to, so it's a long story. I allowed my co-pilot to take control over my schedule for this particular trip, and it showed that my flight was on Saturday when it was actually today. And so, yeah. Luckily, huh?
So you basically missed your flight?
Yeah. So I was rooming with Earl Lum. We're sharing this apartment that I'm in right now, and he gets up and he takes off. He's headed to the airport to make his 11 o'clock, and it just happens that that's about the time my flight's supposed to take off. And I didn't know until my app told me, hey, get ready for your flight. And it was like 11:05, and I was still right here.
Oh,
and it's because all of my calendars showed me that my flight is tomorrow. So yeah, there you go. AI.
We need an investigation of this.
Yeah,
I love to blame your agent, but I don't know, man. Too many blackberry mojitos, maybe?
Yeah, no, that's tonight. That's tonight. Okay, that's tonight. There shall be blackberry mojitos.
I want to see pictures. I want to see video of you hammered, just like, oh my God. Yeah.
You will.
Good. So you really used the Windows Copilot thing to do your reservations?
Yeah, I don't know what Outlook does, but it is on. And
because they added it to Office 365.
Yeah, I freaking turned it and crap off, man. So,
oh my God.
Anyways, this is the first. Yeah, it could have cost me. What? No, Debbie's going. Debbie, you're actually thinking. Serves you right.
I just don't, I don't know.
I mean, you don't know. You know, you want to use these things for things they say that they can do, but when they don't do them, it's like, you know, they basically shrug and say, well, we told you that it's not perfect. So kind of like, it sucks to be you, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I learned here at MWC is that you really need to check. Sources are more important now than ever. But to be able to have access to, direct sources versus having to deal with all these abstraction levels. So now with a lot of these search engines that have gone overboard with generative AI and doing these summarizations, and God knows what they're doing with their search engines, how do you get underneath all those abstractions and then actually hit sources? I think that's like a big
agree.
Now.
You should have stuck with your sources, man. You should have just said, I'm looking at my app for my airline.
Yeah.
and it knows when I'm going.
Exactly.
Oh my God. That awkward moment when you look at your upcoming trips and the next one is Las Vegas. Soccer.
Oh, geez. Yeah, no kidding.
Probably has something to do with the time zone. It probably didn't
Yeah,
get the time
got
zone
confused.
right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, could be. Absolutely. Oh my gosh.
Because what
Can you
it's
imagine
doing,
though?
Yeah.
Luckily, it was not a super traumatic, horrible deal. Like, so are you rebooked on a flight?
Yeah, it cost me 20 cents
Oh,
to
well, it's
rebook,
nothing.
which is like horrible.
That's
Yeah. I mean, I can't believe I'm gonna call them and complain.
But can you imagine though, if the same scenario though, and you were trying to get the last flight out of Kyiv before the Russians invaded,
Jesus.
but your co-pilot screwed up, and now
Yeah.
it's the next day, and now you don't get out, huh?
Well, surely
I
the
don't.
state of Leonard Lee could sue, the right authorities to at least put some money in the state, because that failure resulted in our man not making it out of this Eastern European city with his life.
But what he's going to do is he's going to call and complain.
I want my 20 cents back. But hey, look, I want to tell you guys something. Oh my gosh, people watch this show. I literally had people jumping out of booths going, "You're the IoT guy." I'm like, I looked at him and go, "What?" Or there are people that goes, "Oh, you're Leonard Lee. Hey, let me shake your hand." It's like, I watch you're a really good guitar player. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. How do you know that I'm a good guitar player? Because you're on that IoT show, goofy one with that other funny guy. And I'm going, oh, I'm the only funny guy. Who's the other funny guy, right? Oh, you mean the guy with the beard, Rob Tiffany?
Yeah, wow, hilarious.
Wow. So maybe
it's
all along, this whole IoT show has been nothing more but for an advertising vehicle for your guitar prowess, hoping that you'll get a permanent gig with a metal band.
Exactly.
And so that's really what this has been all about. It's a ruse.
Well, you called it like maybe 2-3 years ago, right?
I'm going to make a projection right now. I'm feeling something. I'm going to, as an analyst, I'm now saying that 2025 is going to be an IoT renaissance.
Oh, no way. Are you serious?
I've just decided right here.
Yeah. And you know what? I was on a call with Mark about IoT Stars and how to revamp IoT Stars. It's the 10th anniversary here. I told him, I think it may come back because of Edge AI and how a lot of this cheaper AI compute now is coming toward the edge. And then you guys were over at the Edge AI foundation event, right? And so you guys should talk about that as well, because I think that's a big deal. Sensors Converge. I was on a board of directors meeting. I brought up. I know that Pete and the organization's already going to be there, but I think unhyping it and then helping that stuff settle in nicely in a effective way is kind of a cool thing to look out for. Yeah, dude.
Maybe it's possible that we've stuck with this long enough that now it's retro nostalgic and it's hot again. It's like we were into 1960s fashion, and then we kept doing the show into the 90s, and then it came back, and people are wearing bell bottoms or something.
I think you're right, dude. Seriously.
I don't know. So tell me about IoT Stars.
Yeah, it was not as well attended as years before. It was good. I mean, they kept the formats really short. I gave you a shout out, dude.
Yeah.
So one of the panelists got up and said, this is just about sensors and connecting things and gathering data. That's all IoT is. And I told him, you know what? That's a really great point. And where is Rob Tiffany when we need him?
The plumbers are
Like,
here.
yeah, exactly. And that got quite a laugh.
That's funny.
So
So it
yeah.
was short. It was not well attended. That is really unfortunate.
Well, there were people there. There was a issue with the train. I would say that I think
Was it
Barcelona
with
there was around 80 people, which
Oh,
I don't know,
mm,
kind of seemed a little bit
ouch.
light. Yeah.
Ouch. Were all the people on strike again for the trains? Like
Probably.
they love to go on strike during MWC to
Yeah.
inflict the most pain possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's really sad. So, but they're going to do embedded
Embedded.
world in Nuremberg.
Yeah, which should be better. I
Yeah.
think for MWC, they have to kind of revamp or rethink, what the IoT Stars program should be for MWC, because it's changed, right? But given what you just said, there may be renewed interest in IoT. It's just that you have to approach the program more from the standpoint of the audience or the folks that go to MWC versus like startups and like early
Yeah.
phase community building. Do you know what I'm saying? I think we're
It's all coming back, bro. And you know why? Because I just said it on the show. That's all
Yes.
it takes.
Yes.
It's that kind of magic.
Yes.
It's like a strange magic is, what ELO might tell us. And so 2025 IoT Renaissance, it's happening. Yeah, the Edge AI event actually was awesome in Austin. Bill was there. It was really good. Great crowd, a lot of energy. Lots of good presentations. The after party that Tuesday night that Tom White put on and Chris Watson over on Rainy Street. That was, what was it called? Luster Pearl was the name of the venue. We had a blast. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Olivier Bloch was there, and he did his live IoT show, interviewing lots of people. Even managed to get into a photo booth with Stephanie Atkinson. When's the last time you got a photo booth and got your little strip of pictures? Like at your, high school dance, or I don't even know what I'm saying there. Anyway, yeah. So we had that.
That's pretty strange.
It is strange, but cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. I'll try to find a photo booth picture. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, but yeah. Go ahead.
Did you have drink? All right, so at IoT Stars, how did it start out? Did you start out with people milling around having beer? Like
typical
normal?
program. Yeah.
The typical Estrella Dam program.
Yeah, what was crazy is I had the first panel, and there were like 3 panelists, and they gave us 10 minutes, which is basically you have a minute for each of the panelists to say something plus the intro. So
There you go.
yeah, that's cool.
Such silliness.
Cool.
Yeah,
I think the new thing at parties is photo booths.
Yeah.
yeah.
But did you
I
have
had
any
to
weird
hack
hats
it.
to put on?
I had to hack the photo booth. It didn't want to work. And so luckily, I kind of wired in, I was like, oh, this is a Unix system. I know this. So I totally hacked the machine and everything. And we got it to work, man. And so it was awesome. And it started spitting out strips of photos. So I know we got a couple of them. Yeah. Good tequila.
Yeah.
Good recommendation actually from Steph on what was it? Lalo.
Lalo. Lalo.
LALO. I liked it. That was good tequila.
Mm.
Yeah. That's another
Yeah.
important part of the IoT Coffee Talk show as we talk about tequila, right?
We talk about liquor. You just got to know your liquor.
You got to know your liquor,
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So,
Yeah.
people missed you, dude. They're going, why the hell did IDC not let Rob Tiffany go to MWC? So that was like one of the big topics.
When I saw like posts on the line from other IDC people, they're like, yeah, there's 25 IDC analysts here at MWC and, giving you hot takes. And I'm like, it felt like the real winner, you're gonna love this, Leonard, because you're such a fan. It felt like Huawei was the big winner this
Oh, yeah.
time, like
Dude.
by a wide margin.
It's friggin' scary.
They're lighting up LATAM
Yeah.
pretty well.
Wow. I'm
Um,
surprised that you're not already working for them, David.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
you know what? It's like stuff from last year that I pointed out. Like one of the things, like when the U.S. government started restricting sales of the H100s and forcing NVIDIA to send them throttled down versions of their hardware. I pointed out last year, oh, wait a minute, networking and interconnect is actually more important in scaling than the chips themselves, right? And they hadn't thought of that stuff at the time. Meaning the U.S. government. And what I noticed that they had like 300 gigabit like fiber links for interconnecting racks. And then now this year, I think they introduced something that is an implementation of optical for the server to server interconnect using fiber. And
Fiber between servers?
Yeah.
Like in the rack instead of Ethernet?
Which is really expensive.
Yeah, it is.
And takes a lot of power. I was asking this dude these questions. I couldn't understand about, I would say, 80% of what he was saying because his English wasn't all that great.
Because he was speaking Chinese.
Pun intended.
Maybe, he was speaking English with a Chinese accent. So I couldn't really understand everything, but I saw some of the diagrams and I posted on LinkedIn. These guys know what they're doing, and they have so many other ways of scaling out compute that, especially at a huge scale, like a supercluster scale, there's going to be no way to stop these guys.
People who are familiar with Mobile World Congress year in, year out, they know that there's this GLOMO awards that happen every time. Huawei almost swept like every award in the GLOMO awards this year. Like almost everything.
One that caught my attention from Huawei, which in a way has nothing to do with tech itself, is that they have a focus for the telecoms that they're trying to sell to into Africa, and they did this whole section on basically a white paper for the most efficient way to construct passive optical LAN, like your fiber to the office sort of thing. And then like, we can even help you down with construction because, wireless is not wireless. And they made this part of the conversation because you might have a partner in a country in Africa where they don't have this expertise. They're giving them the blueprints. Like, buy this kit from us. We're going to help you down with construction. What they didn't mention is also that they'll finance it.
Of course they will.
Of course they will. We knew that, but that wasn't, like it was said, but didn't have to be said sort of thing. And anyway, that one, I thought I was, reading between the lines here with Huawei.
There you go. David.
Well, I mean, wireless is really just less wire, right? That's really what it is.
Yeah.
That's
the last mile is wireless.
It's less wire, just
Yeah.
There's a reason why those two words are there.
Once we figure out how to transmit electricity to a light bulb just floating in the air with no wires, then we've made it.
Oh yeah.
Which, by the way,
at that point, quantum is real.
Yes. And by the way, if you guys in Texas need people to support your grid, we just fired a bunch of people in Bonneville Power, and they're great staff. We have linemen. We have substation managers. We've got all kinds of like talented, deep expertise in the grid, and they don't have a job here in the Northwest. So if you would like to pick them up in Texas, they'll be happy, and we will all be better for it.
Oh man, that's sad.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let me show you something.
Show us.
I don't even know what the friggin' hell this thing is called. You know the thing that like holds your badge around your neck? The
Yeah.
little
Oh, the
Yeah.
lanyard.
yeah, that thingy.
Yeah.
You know what? Shit.
Shiite.
And it.
Shoot.
Okay. What does that say?
A lot?
Who the hell is that? I don't even
I
know
don't know.
who that is. You know for how many years it's been which company?
It's
Huawei.
been a lot of money. It's kind of
Yeah.
like the
That's
start
a
of
lot of
spending
money
all
for
their money
land.
at the Super Bowl.
Yeah. The Huawei didn't even bother. And then, you know, this year, a lot of the US based analysts didn't want to see us. You know, we're like kind of blacklisted. So,
That's
You know,
that's a
Leonard,
lot of money. A lot of money
it is a
spent.
lot of money. Leonard,
A
I would
lot.
fully expect you, while you're in Barca, to somehow purchase one of the new hot Huawei smartphones, um, and and bring it back. I mean, I see reviews when they say who's got the best camera, who's got this, and they go, well, actually, this new Honor or this new Huawei's
yeah.
camera blows away the iPhone,
Yeah.
but you can't buy it at a mobile operator in
You
the
know,
U.S.
And there's no way that Leonard could have brought one of those back, man. He would have been confiscated himself and held and held for tariffs.
yeah.
His land, instead of alert, would have said cavity search.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
would
that
take
one.
them upside down.
Exactly.
Take you upside down.
Yeah, you know, this is the first time I've ever, you know, I haven't spoken to Huawei in a while, but this is the first time I actually thought, you know, in a few years' time, these guys are going to kick the crap out of Apple. And I remember a long time ago, almost a decade ago, these guys were, when they were telling me about getting into consumer, or, you know, like consumer, this is before they did their handsets. And I remember me and my Gartner counterpart, we were just like laughing at the guys. Like, there's no way you guys can, you know, compete with Apple. They're gonna they're already doing some really super scary stuff. Meaning scary,
Yeah.
meaning highly competitive. It's behind the Chinese, you know, whatever
Wall.
trade wall or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And they're gonna unleash that stuff. And with
I
all
mean, what
these
is it, Leonard? I mean, one company is innovating like their life depends on it. The other company has literally quit innovating years ago. I mean, nobody thinks of Apple as a giant innovator machine anymore at all. They say incremental, cool marketing. They have a club that people want to be a part of the club. I get the Apple Club. I totally get it. But as far as just outright tech innovation, I can't. Apple hasn't done shit in years.
yeah, I think
I
they
mean, to be honest, who has?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know
Yeah.
that does not fit within their DNA anymore. Primarily because when they were innovating, they had hungry young engineers, they had thought leadership, they were pushing the envelope, and things of that nature. So, I mean, literally, them, Microsoft, Google,
Yeah.
they're not
You know,
innovating.
that's a good point about a lack of innovation. I mean, bro, like, obviously we had the latest Galaxy devices came out from Samsung, and yeah, I remember I was watching one video, and they're just like, he was just like, you know what, our guy on YouTube, man, he's the ultimate reviewer of everything on the planet, and he's just like, he was comparing it to Huawei's stuff. Actually, he's just like, well, didn't really get any changes with the camera. They didn't use this new innovative type of battery that Huawei's now switched to that gets, he like listed 3 things that I hadn't even thought of that Huawei was doing in their new smartphones that Samsung, he felt like they were coasting,
Yeah,
you know?
I think Samsung is in trouble. The South Korean electronics companies are in big trouble. Because you know, like at CES, what you saw were the Japanese basically pivoting to some weird stuff, like, um, well, it's not weird stuff. They pivoted more toward things that are more, you know, what is it, DEI, not D, yeah, DEI related. Nah,
We just got this.
ESG related. ESG related. What did he say?
Catch me on the replay. Bill heard it. This episode will be known as automatically erased from the interwebs due to a keyword search completed in some operating system. The last episode of IoT Coffee Talk.
We'll post it to YouTube, and ironically, it'll never show as being posted.
We're going to be canceled.
Never
We're
happened.
going to have to carry this episode in a physical YubiKey to pass the sneaker net to all of our friends.
You guys are that's freaking hilarious. But you know,
bad word.
You know who we need to have on the show? We need to have Marquez Brownlee on the show. He's the ultimate reviewer of everything. And that's who I was thinking of when he was reviewing the latest stuff from Samsung. I was like in the Austin airport watching his deal. And he just like knew off the top of the head innovations that we were getting from other players that Samsung just punted on. They go,
look, I love the tech reviews. You know what I want? I want one of them to bring Debbie on the show and let's review the damn privacy aspect of all this.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
ouch.
right.
Privacy?
Yeah.
I want to light some people up.
That's what I'm saying. That's the look, Huawei's tech piece of it. I love it. Would I ever want to really use it? Hell, unless they show me what's under the covers.
Oh, I'll show you what's under the covers. It's called DeepSeek.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, seriously.
I mean, the minute that you buy it, you know what comes along with it is the proverbial probe.
Yeah.
You mean think that they would use on me if I had one of those Huawei phones and tried to bring it back into the United States?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Listen to Debbie. No, you know what, Debbie? I saw that little blurb on LinkedIn where you were interviewed by somebody and you made the mention about the models don't forget, right? You know, yeah. And so I was recently asked by Fierce, the guys at Fierce, is it safe to use the what do you call it? These Chinese models, right? Like the Alibaba.
Like DeepSeek, get offline.
Yeah. And for the things that are hosted, right, and delivered as let's say AI as a service, nobody should be using that thing, right? That's like scary stuff, right? What happened?
Yeah.
You know,
Had a jump.
I would say based on what you're putting in there, like for me, like, you know, I wanted a Pico de Gallo recipe. You know, I don't think that's like a major state secret.
Yeah.
So using it for stuff like that, fine. But like not like proprietary, confidential, sensitive information. No.
Yeah, but then do you really want the CCP to know that you like Pico de Gallo at a certain time or day?
Be good with it.
I don't know. They might be able to read into that for something, you know. They can infer something from that. Yeah, you know, but I thought it was really interesting because there's all this Agentic talk at MWC. And, you know, I had a lot of conversation with like Microsoft, Google, and some of these other guys that are trying to shill the Agentic AI story. And that topic came up a couple of times. I had to bring it up. And it's like, so how do you erase stuff? How do you get these agents to forget things that we can delete?
Remember, was it the EU that pushed years ago about the right to be forgotten?
Yeah.
On Google?
Yeah. But data systems aren't built to forget things. So if you want to forget things, you have to take some extra steps, and it's extremely hard to do an AI model.
Oh no, you have to basically go to the base mall and retrain the friggin' thing. Right. You have to redo the post training. Right. Yeah, it needs to be literally a new model.
Right. So
these things don't forget.
They do, like if people put in requests or have things forgotten, all they do is like suppress it or do some type of code to make it harder for a person to get that information out, not impossible, right? So I think in the future I think is going to be these smaller models where it won't cost that much to retrain if you have to remove something out. And, it removes a lot of the problems that we see with like IP and, privacy and stuff. If people have their own models. It don't have to be hosted, on the interweb, and you don't have to share that information.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Yen. No, I just want to, Yen, you haven't been on for a long time. What the hell's wrong with you, man?
I know. I'm been bad.
He's
But
getting
I'm trying to be good now again.
Oh,
Yay!
oh, yeah. You just remind me. Hey, everybody, remember, take us seriously at your own risk. We're just here having fun. And don't listen to Rob, and don't take to heart any of his suggestions on investment strategies of any sort. Yes, please don't.
Especially now.
That would be
Especially
really
now.
bad.
All that investment advice I gave you, like my whole stock portfolio has been like in a free fall like the last few days. I don't know why. Something on the TV, something I keep hearing. Oh, we're going to do tariffs. No, we're not going to do tariffs. No, we're going to do tariffs. Whatever. Stock market down 400 points. Stock market down 700 points. I'm just like,
Oh my gosh.
I think the same.
Uncertainty is very expensive.
yes, it is.
So
Yes, it is.
fall.
I think there's a team of retired telco people that used to do roaming pricing, and I think those guys are doing the tariffs. So they're like, "Do we do this? We do that. We do this. It went up. It went down. We got a deal." Anyway, it's
Yeah.
You got to follow some of the Trump White House marketing people and be the one that knows what Trump's going to say tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's kind of like following Nancy Pelosi's stock picks, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
that's after the fact. Now you can get it
right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I have memories. This is so nostalgic. I have fond memories of NVIDIA at 145. Those were the days. Oh, we got like at 111 now or something. Oh my God.
I love how Rob doubles down on all these. Yeah.
You can't satisfy the market unless you have like a 500% beat. It's not enough to beat analyst expectations. NVIDIA has to just like blow up the planet each time.
With that
But doesn't OpenAI now need to buy a whole lot from NVIDIA?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. You could obviously, based on how much money all the companies have committed to spending, 100 billion here, 100 billion there, 60 billion, 70 billion, 80 billion, they're all doing it. And so you're like, somebody's getting paid, NVIDIA's getting paid, all the people who go to making a data center, they're all getting paid. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Eventually, they know. Eventually, that's going to fall down because, I mean, a lot of these are capital expenditures. People don't make those investments that often, right?
Yeah.
So,
right.
We're seeing a lot of that now, so it's going to have to fall down at some point. Maybe go back up at some point, but I don't think so.
Well, one of the interesting conversations I had at MWC was on the topic of demand, and there were several executives that I was chatting with regarding like the data center build outs and this idea, and even for 5G actually, data, right? And this notion of demand and how that is reflective of revenue. And it's like, well, not really. Monetization, just because you have demand and you're incurring costs doesn't mean that is, new revenue, or in the case of not crypto, AI, that the infrastructure demand has to be monetizable, right? Otherwise, you're just expanding capacity and, there's just more traffic or more tokens running through your system. And the question of monetization is, price per unit. And if you can't charge for that demand, it's not monetized, right? And it's so weird that you get into these conversations with people that should know better, that don't know better.
Well, maybe
It's like the people who think that corporate taxes are on revenue, which is like friggin' bonkers, right? It's on profit, not revenue. But they think that, oh my gosh, the government taxes, these corporations on their revenue. It's like, no, that's not how it works.
First, we don't tax them enough, but let's not get into that.
No,
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, you should move to
Well,
Europe.
I think this guy that you were talking to, Leonard, is conflating.
No, not just guy.
Well,
People.
these people, because I'm hearing you, and it sounds like a group of people conflating telco infrastructure and how you monetize it, and cloud data center infrastructure and expanding and contracting, which on the data center, well, that's the native business model. But in telcos, dude, it doesn't work that way. It never worked that way. We did get a bit closer when we started virtualizing a lot of these boxes like that, but that was a ton of years ago. It's like we did it, it's done. There's no demand charging. And also look at the pricing. The pricing is up front. I'm going to charge, give me this much data, this volume for this price. And that's it. There's no elasticity built into the telco model. It doesn't
That's
make
a
no
big word
sense.
there.
Yeah.
You should be on CNBC, David.
I don't know, like my blood pressure went up and I don't even
Yeah.
work at the telco.
He got triggered.
You got triggered. You
All
need to
right.
be on the
He got
you
triggered.
And
need
I
to be on a business
see
show.
the big question mark is once people buy all this compute and different things, there's still no guarantee that they're going to be able to use it in any good way or any way that the companies, the fact they sold it to you, that's all they care about. They don't care if you can't use the stuff you bought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
I think,
another interesting financial tidbit that came out yesterday. Did you hear about how the U.S. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve was created yesterday?
Oh, I heard about that.
Oh my
It's
God.
like it's digital gold, people. It's digital gold.
How you put something in reserve doesn't exist?
But what I read is that I guess we had seized 200,000 Bitcoins from bad people. And so we're just going to use that as the initial deposit into that reserve.
Oh my
God, 200,000 Bitcoins, that's worth a lot of money now.
No,
That's
hold
more than a
on,
pizza.
Rob, because they don't. You're talking about assets that have been seized, but deep into, because I was reading this. Funny enough, we think there's 200,000 Bitcoin. We don't know where they are, and we don't know where the keys are. So it's like the guy that dumped the hard drive into the garbage into the landfill, right? So it's like it's here somewhere. And it's worth a ton of money, but I'm looking for it. I don't know where it is right now.
I'm going to buy the landfill and I'm going to spend the rest of my life digging through trash.
Yes, this is the one.
I mean, if I was Little Kim, meaning the leader of North Korea,
Not the rap artist from New York.
Rocket Man.
I would dump all of my Bitcoin. They have tons of it. They use it for
Do they?
ransomware, right?
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Oh no, they have tons of it. I mean, there is no strategic Bitcoin reserve. It's so
No, I disagree.
basically you're handing somebody a gun. You're handing somebody a gun to shoot you with.
It is strategic for a handful of people. It is absolutely part of a strategy for a handful of people. Generally speaking, no, it's bunkers.
Yeah.
No, they're trying to treat it like gold. It's not like gold, right?
Well, they think of it like gold because it's a store of value.
You know, one of these days we're gonna get that live tour into Fort Knox, and all we're gonna find is an empty vault and a Bitcoin piece
Yeah.
NFT, a Bitcoin NFT that got printed out, and we're like, where's the gold? And that's all.
It was
Oh my
used to
God,
buy
that's
Bitcoin,
incredible.
I love gold.
Oh man,
Oh
this is
my
a
God.
good episode.
This is almost getting to look more and more like a James Bond movie
Oh,
Yes.
No,
on the real old one.
actually, it's
That's
more
right.
like an Austin Powers movie. That's
Yeah.
really what this is.
and with a blended with a little idiocracy too, I think. A little
Yeah.
bit in there. But you're right. I love the James Bond movie though. Was that Goldfinger?
Yep.
You know, they're all the little helicopters. Yeah, that was cool.
Well, it
Was it,
reminds me of the guy who bought. It reminds me of the guy who bought the first tweet and made an NFT of it or something for several $1 million. I want to say he paid $40 million something.
Yeah,
And I think he couldn't even sell it for like 10 cents. I mean, it was like a ridiculous amount.
and that was Dorsey's. It was Dorsey's original,
Yeah.
Jack Dorsey's original NFT. Yeah.
Yeah.
you got to be early. That's the message. You got to be early. You got to be at the very beginning of the Ponzi scheme, because if you're further down the pyramid in your multi-level marketing thing that you're a part of, selling whatever,
Yeah.
you ain't gonna make that money.
By the way, Rob, did you accept that Herbalife order I placed for you yesterday?
I did, and I'm
Thanks,
really
bud.
excited. I'm excited to be a part of your pyramid.
Thanks. Look, I already have the Mary Kay
Smart ass.
Cadillac on the driveway.
That's
I
right.
mean, it is MLM is popping, man.
You got a pink Cadillac?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
Mary Kay, honey.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Oh yeah. That is awesome.
I know
I'm part of
someone
David's
who has,
downline.
Yeah, there's someone in Chicago that has a pink Mary Kay Bentley.
No way.
Must be working for somebody. Yeah.
Woo! Well, I guess somebody's out there hustling. You know, good for them, I guess.
Oh, they just started early. They're the
Yeah.
first.
Right. What are we going to start?
Yeah.
That's right.
Today's the best day.
Today's the
That's
best
right.
day. Yeah. Absolutely.
You got some IoT coins.
Yeah. IoT coins. Let's start our own
It's
meme coin.
ridiculous.
Remember, we found out how to do it. Remember, Leonard? We were
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah. Takes 5 minutes to make your own friggin' stupid, meme coin. Yeah.
Yeah, because Trump and Melania were able to just crank them out, and so we should be able to have an IoT meme coin.
Yeah. We were going to do fart coin and then someone already thought of it. So we're screwed. No fart coin.
IoT.
Yeah.
Man, this is how we're going to fund our new empire.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think the whole IoT coin is just part of the big momentum between 2025 being an IoT renaissance year. It's
Yeah.
all coming back. It's hard,
There we go.
There was a lot of love, I would say, at the Prove It conference that Walker Reynolds did. I talked to some people who were part of that. I had a call with what's the MQTT guys, Hive guys. It's what an interesting concept. If you were a vendor at that conference, you were required to take this data set and do all this stuff with it and prove that your technology actually worked. You couldn't just show up and have a booth and be like, we're awesome. It was hardcore.
It's like a developers conference, right? In a
All
way.
the vendors who showed up with their
it was,
industry
in a way, yeah.
4.0 IoT stuff had to prove that it really worked. And guess what? It didn't work for everybody. And they were shamed. They were shamed in public.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah. That's hardcore.
Yeah. No, you know what? I invited him on. Actually, I suggested, and then he said, "Yeah, I'll come on IoT Coffee Talk." I said, "Cool, that'd be great," because he was I guess getting kind of trolled by that Leaf guy. Is that his name?
Oh, that guy's always trolling everybody.
Yeah.
He's a jerk.
Well,
He's a jerk. And no one has any love for that guy because all he does is bash everyone.
yeah. And so, but I kind of put out there is like, why don't you guys both come on IoT Coffee Talk, and we'll have like a friggin' brawl.
He would say, yeah, maybe Rick Bellato will unblock me and then I can come talk to him.
That's what he did.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Prove It thing, HiveMQ just dominated. They got lots of love. Some people didn't dominate and they got a talking to. Some people didn't follow the rules and they got a talking to in public. And so I don't know if this is ushering in a new type of conference where vendors have to prove that their stuff isn't BS marketing. I kind of like it. It's kind of hardcore, but I kind of like it. You know,
we should bring him on to talk about that approach, because that is like really cool.
For change, I have a lot of strong opinions on this one. So I've been paying attention to Walker and Zach from the OG YouTube video. All right.
Yeah.
Just two dudes with great ideas and like big fan. And I followed a lot of the people that came out of the Prove It conference. And I think the conference was fire. I think in a positive way. I think, to your point, Rob, is making people like, hey, you're not coming here to BS. So I think for a buyer audience, an integrator audience, tons of value. Where there were a lot of, as my kids say, cringe moments, because you had a lot of alpha males trying to be alpha males in the room. And at some point, it's like, dude, hold on. Are you trying to prove your manliness to this other manly man? Or are you here in a conference where you have an audience and there's this narrative that so there was a lot of that. And if any of these guys, Zach or Walker or Omar from, HiveMQ, hopefully, I'm sure that feedback hopefully came in, because it was like, dude, it's not WWE. Like, relax. It's a conference. It's your first one. You sold out. You started from the bottom up. Relax with the alpha male gun toting, bazooka shooting thing. Other than that, I thought the content was great, and that's not a show that you go if you're full of it, because you're going to get called out. And if you cannot prove it, you're going to get pulled out, pun intended.
I think it's great, man.
It's pretty hardcore. I agree. We should have Walker on the show and talk about it. I think that'd be a good interview. Actually.
Yeah, he's funny too, because he's so freaking angry.
That's
right? It's like he's like pissed off at nothing.
Yeah. But I'm like David. I've been watching his videos on YouTube forever. They're great. If you were going to start your own consulting firm to help companies digitally transform, he has actually laid out a plan and a roadmap that you could adopt if your own consulting firm. Just say, do what he's doing, to digitally transform a lot of these companies. They don't hold back.
He has a good engineering mind. You can tell, He puts things out. He knows how to think through methodologies.
Dude, but also the community aspect was great, because I think the first video is not more than 6 years old, maybe 6.5.
Yeah,
and I know that 4 years ago, maybe 3.5, 4 years ago, they got into Discord, and I think there were one of the first, Industry 4.0, anti-Rockwell, anti-Siemens. And dude, the good thing is, we've talked about this many times here at the IoT Coffee Talk, how you have the vendor lock-in, and sometimes you don't feel like you have a choice because they're so big and you either deal with them or not. But this community is from frontline system integrators dealing with machines at the PLC and HMI level, and they will get into the minutia of, I have this CNC machine and I'm trying to deliver this data load to make this and it was great, and look what it's grown. So anyway, like, big props to how they've built it, and the knowledge is real and it's public, and it's kind of like they had community notes before we had community notes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, their Discord server is pretty extensive.
Yeah,
A lot of stuff on it.
I agree. Yeah, I lots of props to those guys for sure. And so I would say that's also part of the IoT renaissance of 2025. Prove It just kicked off the year with a bang. You
Yeah.
know, I thought our Edge AI event was great. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I also I spent a lot of time. Our friend.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
now he's in the cloud. He's in the cloud.
like you guys friends with Rob Van Kranenburg. He's one of the OG IoT guys of all time. From Belgium. Anyway, he's the guy who started the IoT Council and the IoT Day, which always happens every year on April 9th. And so this April 9th, we're having the 15th anniversary of IoT Day is happening. And so IoT Day, go look at it if you've never, it sounds like no one here on this call has even heard of what I'm saying.
No, I haven't.
Which is
I remember something about it.
so, but IoT Day, he started it, this will be the 15th anniversary. Basically started it, in the early days of IoT. And it was basically like you go to the website and you register just some little event. It could be simple, like just go have coffee with some people and tell them about IoT and tell them how it works. Go just do something simple on IoT Day. And so I remember that's how I got to know him. And I remember doing tweet storms all day on IoT Day about IoT use cases and stuff like that. And so, anyway, I have signed up to do a web thing for the planet. My goal, I'm working really hard. I'm finally pulling together all my use cases from the 17 sustainable development goals in IoT. It's been scattered. It's been in slide decks. I've been using my blog as kind of a scratch pad to get my thoughts through and keep making edits and changing to get where I think I want it to be. And so I think I'm about right there. And now I'm blasting through and trying to get 1, 2, maybe 3 use cases per sustainable development goal and pull that stuff together. And guess what? I threw in some AI because you got to have a
Gotta sprinkle it.
little sprinkle of AI in there, but it wasn't just
Sprinkle a little bit of AI doo-doo on.
it turns out it's machine learning for actual real stuff and predicting future events and computer vision, which is AI also. And you need it for absolutely all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've been piecing those together. I'm going to work really hard and try to have that done. I'm trying to pull it together into what we used to call a book. And get that out the door. We'll see if I can. I'm gonna try to have something in time, and I'll do a presentation on IoT Day about that. And Rob's gonna join with me with that.
Man. Cool.
Pretty cool. Groovy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's basically the Chrono What Pulls of Narnia is what's happening here.
Yeah. I can't wait to get home.
I bet.
Yeah.
Do you have some good vino while you're there?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Well, I had dinner with Earl Lum and Mark, and we went to a favorite restaurant called Fondo?
Fonda Pepe.
Yeah. So hey, when any of you guys show up, we should go there. But we recorded a episode for Next Curve. We just do this silly, half drunk recap of the event. But I do want to say something, man. GSMA didn't go nuts with the hype this year, which is really shocking.
What is there
they
to
called the theme was connectivity, feel the power, or experience the power of connectivity, which would bring it back to the network, the connectivity. They didn't talk about, some weird, metaverse bullshit. So on stage, a lot of the European operators, they're pretty somber, talking about real stuff, policy related, spectrum policy related, in terms of the urgency of getting over the 5G SA hurdle. It was only like when the Chinese dudes got up on stage, they started talking all kinds of weird shit about AI. And but other than that, I mean, I think Europe is done with the nonsense because I think there's recognition that Europe is behind and something has to happen. because China, like you said, Rob, Huawei was flexing big. And the reason why they're doing that is because they know they're winning. If not, they've already won. And that should bug the crap out of everybody else.
And as always, they had by
Apple.
far the biggest booth. Their stand there, I think it took up almost the entire hall.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It was like they were like a great white shark, and maybe a couple of stands in the front were like little remora fish, like, you know,
Barnacles.
barnacles stuck to the bottom, you know, like eating scraps. They're monstrous, and that booth was insane, and everyone, their competitors were saying it too. It's just, how do you match that scale? Nokia booth was just like as big as the Cisco booth. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I heard Ericsson opened up their booth. Remember how it was always just paywall?
The rings of power.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I spent a lot of time there, but it's nothing like the Ericsson people know too. They went over to see the Huawei stuff, and everybody's just, stunned. Because, you might remember, after the pandemic, they were kind of split, and they were a bit under the radar, sort of. They didn't have that big hall. It's just in the last 3 years that they've expanded their presence in that hall, and literally have taken over Hall 1. And the other thing I noticed is the hyperscalers are so weak now. Their game is like gone. I remember like a few years ago, there was a lot of concerns that they might like take things over. They don't really have much of a game. And so when you consider that the US hyperscalers and big tech companies don't have game, and Huawei is as big as they are, that tells you something,
Okay, go ahead and call Andy Jassy and tell him that AWS doesn't have game.
No, they don't. They don't. They really
the three
don't.
hyperscalers are still so much bigger than anything else on the planet, dude. But are you saying they don't have game in terms of telecom stuff?
Yeah. I don't think they. You know what? I have a feeling that Huawei is more capable than most, basically, than we think. It's kind of scary, man. Seriously, it's scary how it's not just their size and their presence in the hall; it's the technology and the breadth of their technology, the depth of the technology, and how all of it is integrated in a way that I don't think people appreciate yet.
Yeah.
So Anyways, on that really super depressing note,
I'll take us out.
Yeah, who wants to take us out?
Humans and bots, you have made it to the end of another IoT Coffee Talk, where we start with strategy and end with strategy, but the disaster and the nuggets happen right in the middle. So thank you for being one of us. Let's check the count. 11 trillion subscribers, which, yes, far exceeds the population of the planet. Well, you know where those people are coming from. We know too. We see you. So thank you for being here. Remember a couple of things you cannot forget. Number one, do not follow financial advice from this program if you expect to retire before you die. Number two, refer to number one. Number three, if you have extra money in NFTs or cryptocurrency and hard drives in a landfill, remember, we have a great place for you to put it, and that is elevateourkids.org, where we grab this money that you give us and we try to close the digital divide by slinging laptops and devices to kids that need it. I'm actually serious. You should check it out, elevateourkids.org. So with that, we send you love from all over, all different corners of the planet Earth, and have a good weekend, and we will see you here in another episode of IoT Coffee Talk. Peace out.
That was very eloquent.
Yeah, that was really good, man.